So what war did he go to at the time? He went to...
It was World War II, and he spent 3 years in the Pacific Islands fighting the Japanese.
Oh.
You know where the winery is, just along the road here?
Drylands.
Drylands?
Yeah, Drylands.
Yeah, that was the Robinson farm.
Okay, so he was... Did he have any siblings? Like, siblings?
Who are we talking about?
Your father?
Yes,
Your dad?
there's myself and 2 younger brothers.
Like, did any of his brothers go to war? Did he
My
have
father's brothers?
Yeah.
No, he was the only one.
That is important, like,
About the war?
About
just
war.
anything? Yeah.
No, the only thing I can say about my grandfather,
Yeah.
as you probably know, even though there's lots of, like in the First World War there was 100,000 men went away,
Yeah.
that was for the population then, there's only 1 million people in New Zealand. So somebody had to stay home and do the farm work.
Yeah.
So my grandfather did that. As well as looking after his own farm, he looked at the top end of Rapara, there was lots and lots of apple orchards those days, and he used to look after all them while the owners were away at war.
Like, did any of his friends or people he knew go to war? Like, of his friends go to war?
Oh yes, it's hard for me now to remember them, but of course when he went away he made lots of friends. Just as you do when you're in the army away, you rely on your friends.
Yeah.
You've got to stick together and look after each other because it's pretty tough going. I don't know whether it's hard to say whether there was other Rapara men went away, but they're probably all in different battalions, different regiments, and different parts of the world.
Was he a machine gun
No,
or a
he was
rifleman or
just a rifleman.
did he get moved up any places?
No, he stayed just a modest private all his time. Quite happy to be in that situation.
Yeah.
So he survived, did he?
Yes, he came back pretty skinny.
Did he have any injuries or like any...
No, not that I know of. Mind you, a lot of these men, when they came home, they didn't want to talk about the war. It was just too awful. So lots of cases you wouldn't know whether they'd been slightly injured. You'd know if they were seriously injured.
So, what age were you when he went? Like,
When he went,
Yeah.
24.
so were you 24 or was he 24?
He was 24
Okay, he was
when he
24.
went away. And he had 3 sons at that stage, so that's how serious it was, sending men away, with a family.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing your dad leave the house?
I can't remember him leaving, but I can remember him coming home.
Did he send like postcards or anything? Did you send letters back? Or...
He did send a few letters home to his wife, my mother.
Was it hard for you not seeing your father like for a long time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Very hard for my mother
Yeah.
because there was no money. The army pay was only very, very minimal. So she had to bring up 3 boys and pay rent on a house on just her little bit of army pay. So it must have been very hard for a lot of other women who were in the same position, of course.
Yeah.
Times were tough.
What was he like when he came back? Was he like all skinny?
No, he wasn't too bad. He's pretty quiet though, very quiet. It takes a while to get over that sort of thing.
And do you know any facts about what happened over there? Like something about the war?
Well, it was pretty horrible. The Japanese, as you might be aware, they were fanatical people and they were just so cruel. If you were taken prisoner, it was just bad news.
Yeah.
They would put you into hard labour with very little food or water, and at one stage they made all their prisoners build a railway from Thailand to Burma. Now, I forget how many 100,000 prisoners were on that job, but more than half of them died for one way or another, mostly through exhaustion, because they were starving. That was it. I've been up there myself and had a look in recent times. They got it. Have you heard of the bridge over the River Kwai? No. Well, they had to build a bridge over the river as well. Very famous now as a tourist attraction.
Yep. Did he ever talk about what the food was like? Did he?
No, he never talked. I've read a lot about it. And they were a bit better off in the Second World War than they were in Gallipoli in the First World War, where they just lived on tins of bully beef and warm water and hard-tack biscuits, they used to call them, and no vegetables or anything. So those poor blokes in Gallipoli, they were trying to fight their hearts out, and they were half starved and suffering from lack of water.
Did your dad have to start? Did he when he came back to the war? Did he you know how they had to smoke? Did he?
Yeah.
Did he come back and still?
He smoked. He never smoked before the war.
But then he got addicted.
They were mixing with the Americans. The Americans had lots of everything, including
Smokes.
and they used to give our Kiwi soldiers.
And then when he started, he got addicted to it. Did he keep going once he got home?
He did for a few years, but he knocked
And then
off.
he quit.
Yeah, when he realised it wasn't doing him any good.
Yeah.
He never smoked at all because he played a lot of